On today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to win Nano with your friends. So stay tuned.
Hi, and welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast. I'm Christina Catane, and I am currently writing a murder mystery.
I'm Jamie Hirschberger. I write short fiction under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
And I'm Jennifer Carl Tong. And if obviously I couldn't stuff my breakfast in my mouth fast enough and get it out of my mouth before we had to go live. And I write historical Christian romance. And thanks for the save, Jamie.
You're welcome.
We want to thank everybody who listens to the podcast. We love our live chatters. Mm-hmm. We love everyone who watches us on Facebook and YouTube and listens to us on everywhere that podcasts are published, I guess. I mean, you can pretty much find us anywhere. And we start every show with our What's Up segment. So I'm a little interested in Jamie's What's Up. So I'm going to have her go first because it's...
All right. I have a very short little What's Up that's coming at you in a moment. But something that I think is very interesting is one day I got an email that said, your Amazon payment has been processed or something. And I'm like, oh, I made a sale. So what's very funny is in the Kindle Unlimited, I made like 1 Japanese yen or...
Nice.
I don't remember how much the amount was, but it was very much something like 5 cents. But whatever, it was just interesting because Japanese yen. And then I started to wonder who in Japan is interested in my book and whatever. Okay, and so now my real What's Up. I know everybody has been wondering how Kurt, my porch goose, has been doing. And I would like to show you all Kurt dressed up in his Thanksgiving finery as there he is.
It's a little pilgrim.
That is so awesome. Where do you get the outfit? Did you make that one or did you order
it? So Miles Kimball, they're like, I mean, they're expensive for what they are, but if you like to decorate, they make you happy. But I like him. And it's almost like I want to have another goose because they have like a dress and a bonnet kind of a thing. And it was very difficult to decide. And so anyway, there's Kurt.
If you got another one, then you could have Mr. and Mrs. Claus.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I really miss the one that looks like Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, maybe I need to get him a wig so that he always has the straw hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That would be funny.
Well, that's it for me. What's up with you, Tina?
Oh, my gosh. I have neglected to go into the sprinting room in our Facebook group and host it for the past week, and I apologize. I broke a tooth, like down to the gum line. It broke. It actually crumbled, is what it did. And then I had to wait till Monday to get into the dentist, and this was on Thursday that I broke or maybe it was Wednesday. Thursday's when it started hurting. And then the dentist tried to take it out. Well, no, first they did an x-ray and told me to come back the next day. So then Tuesday they tried to take it out and they couldn't. I might have my days all wrong. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They tried to take it out and they couldn't. They got a piece of it out and then it started hurting. And they had already given me 6 shots of Novocaine and it wasn't working. So now I have to go see an oral surgeon that can't get me in until January 12th.
January 12th.
Yeah. And that was the soonest anyone could get me in. So I'm on antibiotics, which is helping a little bit. And they gave me narcotics, which is, you probably didn't want me in there on narcotics in the sprint room. And so I'm a little
I would like you in there on narcotics. I would enjoy that immensely.
Wouldn't be any writing getting done. So anyway, that's been my week, and I'm feeling a little bit better now that the antibiotics are starting to work. But I still am feeling a little weird and loopy, and a little out of it. So if I mess up this podcast, it's all on me.
Aw.
No, it'd be all on us too because we're here too.
And I'm very excited because the professional pictures I had done of my granddaughters in Formar Nature Preserve
Mhm,
just came back like literally 3 minutes before we started sprinting
mhm.
today, and I haven't had a chance to look at them yet. So I'm like chomping at the bit here. Go see my pictures. But
That's
that's it
exciting.
for. What about you, Jen?
Well, first of all, let's go to our chat. We have a bunch of chatters already. Piper is here. Good morning, Piper.
Good
Knitting Nerds. Good morning,
morning.
Suzanne.
Good
Purpose
morning.
Behind the Pen is also here.
Good
Jason
morning.
Marsh is here. Good morning, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Piper's what's up? She says, watching from a hotel in Vegas at the 20 Books conference. So
That's
I'm so
dedication,
jealous.
jealous.
Piper. We really
Yeah.
appreciate you. I would
Yeah.
totally not be in my hotel room watching our podcast if I
Yeah.
was at 20 books. But
Here at 20 Books from by all these other great minds, and you're watching us. Like
we're honored.
we are very honored. Whoops. So sorry, Tina. Knitting Nerd says that's Suzanne.
Jeez.
Purpose Behind the Pen says her what's up is she's still writing book 16 through 20, and so far NaNoWriMo has been great. The next 20 days are going to be a wild one. I agree for all of us. Piper also says sorry to hear that you've been in pain. You can't imagine what to eat with that for the next couple months. Yeah, no kidding. You get sick
Yeah.
of soup awfully fast. So, and Barbara Fields is here. She said, sorry, late, stupid Facebook. She said, yay, 3 girls. Yep,
3 of us. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, and Piper says, well, it's 7 a.m. here and nothing.
We have no competition.
You should have just let us think we were special.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Knitting Nerd says her what's up is she just hit 25,000 words. Word goal for her Nano this morning. That's so great.
Yay.
All right, so my
Wow.
what's up is not as pleasant as everybody else's. Obviously, I've been gone a couple weeks. So 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, in the middle of the night on a Saturday, I got a call from my niece who was frantic. And long story short, my brother passed away completely unexpectedly. And my only sibling. And if you've been following us for any length of time, you know that I've lost a lot of people in the past several years. It's like, and we have joked about my nano curse. It's just not so funny this year.
Yeah.
So we don't really know for sure, though. We are friends with the funeral director in the town I live in, and he said that because he what he does for a living, he said that he would lay money on an aneurysm. He said he could tell that my brother didn't suffer and that he went fast. So my past few weeks have been not just mourning, but my brother was not married, had only one child, and she's an adult. She's not a minor. So, I mean, that's good news, but she also is like a young adult. So helping her navigate through, life insurance and, turning things in, like you don't want to keep paying for his truck, right? So you're going to just on all the things that you have to do with a death certificate. And so yeah, it's been overwhelming, and I haven't want to be around a lot of people, and it was really hard for me to be on today. And I don't know why, because I love you all. It's just, and I'm not sitting in the dark and crying all the time, but it's different when you have to be on. I don't know how to explain that. So, because you also don't want to be the person that everyone's all the time saying, "I'm so sorry." Like, I know you're sorry. I know that. Not that I need to move on, but like life does go on. And so just be praying for my family, especially my niece. So yeah, that's what my what's up is.
I'm so
Well,
sorry
we've
you're
been
gonna.
praying
Yeah,
for you
for
and your
sure.
Thank you.
family this whole
I
time.
appreciate it.
So.
I appreciate it.
I'm sorry I cut you off, Jamie.
No, basically just saying I'm so sorry. Yeah.
So,
Okay, so
but life does go on. And I did get some writing done this week. So
awesome.
yeah. Thank you for everything you guys are all saying in the chat. I see them all and I appreciate it. I do want to say what Piper says though. She says, Jen, it's normal to need to reserve your energy for the things and people around you. That's the truth. That's it right there. It's not
Yeah.
that I don't love you guys and I don't want to be here. It's that, and like I didn't go to church last week either. The week before, obviously was the day after the funeral, and we had to move my daughter. My brother had an apartment. We had to move her out. And like you only have so much time because it was the end of the month too, and like we didn't want to pay another month, and there's just so much chaos or whatever. But last week I spent at my dad's house packing up my mom's craft room. See, there's just so many layers of this morning that I'm going through because my niece
Mhm.
needed a place, that's going to be her room now. She's living with a friend, but this is like her real home, if that makes sense, and so 'cause the friend lives closer to work, but my dad, this is where all her real stuff's going to be. And packing up my mom's craft room is almost worse than like going through like things that are like a value, because this is my mom. Like my mom was the crafter, and so like half done projects that you just can't keep. Like she'd started a quilt for my girls, each of my girls, but like not far enough along that I could finish it or have someone else finish it. You can't keep that kind of stuff, but like it's just all these things that were so special to my mom that you have to, a lot of it, like kept some, but a lot of it you just had to get rid of. And that was just so emotionally exhausting. And last week I didn't go to church because we have a Saturday night church. And I just came home and was by myself and put on a Christmas movie and ate junk food, which made me feel miserable. I've been eating junk food like crazy because clearly I'm an emotional eater. But anyway, so that is very true. So if I'm like not my normal self for the next, I don't even know how long, it's just because of that. It's just I don't have
Well, we'll just
the
give you a lot of
energy.
grace.
I appreciate it. I
And
feel like you guys always have to give me a lot, like it's been
well,
every year there's
we all
something.
have our things that we have to go through, and one day it'll be me. And
Yeah.
like my mom is 86.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's hard to think about next year when you don't know if next year's going to be here. So
Mhm.
well, I
I
know obviously
remember
next year will be here, but will she be here?
I
Yeah.
remember a lot of the time that you were going to be spending with your parents was driving down to the craft store. So, I mean, very obviously, and the fact that that room was still meant to be tackled, like that has to be, like it was left alone for a reason, right? And so,
Mhm.
yeah, wow.
Yeah.
But
But
I'm
good
kind
good
of
and
glad
better
that you're,
things.
yeah, I'm glad your dad won't be like all alone now. Like that's kind of
Mhm.
nice to think about.
Right. So, yeah.
So, okay.
All
Okay.
right. Let's move on to more fun stuff. I almost said
All
funner.
righty.
Let's move on to funner
Let's
stuff.
not, let's say funner because that's a funner word than fun.
That
Funner.
is true.
um, okay, so today's topic is winning NaNoWriMo with your friends. And so we decided that we were going to have a little fun with nano stuff and do a little bit of a lighter topic, but also um, winning
Yep.
nano is a lot more fun with your friends, but it also is more productive in a lot of
And
ways.
I would never have won any of the nanos that I've won if it wasn't for you guys. Like honestly, like we've got actually our very first writing retreat was during April when I messaged us all in a group message. I'm like, we should actually go somewhere and actually camp and have like our camp nano. And that's when we found out that Rhonda had a house up north we didn't even know about back then. So like
Yeah,
that's when I won nano that year and our camp nano. And yeah, anyway, so it
yeah,
really for me is integral in me getting through this month.
right.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And so one of the things we wanted to talk about was this idea of body doubling. And
Mm.
like I have a child who calls himself neurodivergent. He's got ADHD and possible autism. They
Mhm.
could not rule it out. They couldn't rule autism out. And he, like, when he goes to clean his room, he can't do it unless someone's sitting in there with him. They don't have to be helping him. He just needs a body double.
Mhm.
And it's kind of a thing that therapists talk about, but it works for other. If you're not neurodivergent too, it works when you have to get something done to just have somebody there to do it with you.
Mhm. I found that too. Like if I am at someone else's house too and they're cleaning, like I want to clean. You know what I mean? Like I want to be doing it. So like if someone comes over to my house and says, "I'll help you clean," it makes me want to clean even if like they don't need to, like, I get the the body doubling thing too, but I also feel like if we're both doing it, it just feels I'm more energized to do it. So, and I found that with writing, when we sit down to sprint, if I had to sprint by myself, I don't know how you do it, Jamie, like on on Fridays, like sprinting by yourself, because like the motivation for me Friday mornings this early is the fact that Tina is also sitting there typing. And if I don't, she's going to know that I'm not typing. It's going to be super obvious. And I'll be the one that doesn't have anything at the end of the 15 minutes. And I can't stretch that 15 minutes out, which I did actually take an extra minute. Got to be honest today. I took an extra
I
minute.
took it too because I
Okay.
figured
Ooh, that's
got it. I
exciting.
did.
That means that you guys had to keep going because there
Yes.
was like a payoff. I'm excited.
Yes.
I don't know if there's a payoff, but I had to keep going.
Yep.
Well, I would just like to say that I'm very thankful for social media being what it is and for this concept to make its way trickle down to us from, I don't know, the realms of academia or whatever, because I used to think I was so weird because I would just say to my little sister, just come and sit on my bed. Just come in there and be in there with me. You can read a book or play on your Game Boy or whatever. Like if I had to clean my room. And I really just thought that was something that was just me, that made me quirky or weird or sort of whatever. But to find out you are not alone. So like very comforting in a way, you know, like maybe I am not from another planet. Maybe
You
I
are
just
not
have,
from another planet.
right. There are others who are like me. So if you find that you have a difficult time, maybe even work where someone else is doing, like put on your noise canceling earphones and sit in a room where someone else is doing something different, like watching, like maybe you need body doubling and you don't know it, is what I'm trying to say. So give it a try.
That's what I was going to say too, is like, even if you're listening to this and you're like, that's not how I am, like, I like to be alone. I would challenge you that, that there's science behind this as well. I remember my pastor preaching a sermon once, and he talked about that, he and his brother both used to work for their dad. His dad owned like a machining shop, like mechanic stuff. Okay. And when his dad told him, like, because he was going to be working on a engine of one of his vehicles, and he's like, have your brother come over. And he was like, so if it takes me 2 hours to do something and have my brother come over, it'll take me 1 hour because there's two of us, and that's not how it works. If when you have two people, it goes faster than twice as fast. And there's science behind. I don't remember all the science that he shared in it, but there's science behind that when there are two people, it actually goes faster. Now I know we're working on separate projects, but I mean, let's face it, even Jesus gathered his friends together to accomplish his goals.
Exactly.
Like, are you better than Jesus? I don't think so. So I think that having people around you that are reaching out for similar goals and have similar ideals, even if you don't do anything but sit at two separate tables, like you don't even have to sit at the same table at Panera. I don't care, but you're there together doing it at the same time. And that will make such a huge difference in the output and your commitment to getting this done and winning Nano.
And
It
since
makes
we
me
talked about this outline on Tuesday, I can't get this picture out of my head of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane right before he was arrested
Mm-hmm.
and telling the three disciples, come with me, watch and pray.
Mm-hmm.
Like he took three of them and went to go pray for his last few moments of his pretty much last day of his life. He still needed his friends with him.
Mm-hmm.
interesting that you bring up the Panera thing, because a lot of times when we give advice about writing and like breaking up your environment, I wonder how much of when people say, I'm so much more productive when I say go to Panera, is just because in their house, they're alone. When they're out, there's that other body, you know, the people in the room making coffee. Like, so maybe the body doubling is even working for them and they have no clue. They just think getting out into whatever makes them more productive. It's interesting to think about. Also, I am better than Jesus at one thing, and that is sinning. And I dare you to tell me.
You win, Jamie. You win.
But if he wanted to, he'd be better at it. I'm just saying.
Hey, and speaking of Panera, like a friend of mine, this guy at church had mentioned that he had joined the SIP club and what a great deal it was, and I was like, okay. So I actually joined. They have a deal right now that from now till the end of the year, you only pay like $5 for the whole rest of the year. And then you can cancel anytime. So after Nano, you could cancel it. But for $5, every time I go there, and I go twice a day on Thursdays because my girls are going to a homeschool group, and I pick them up for lunch and then we go back. Um, and so right there, I mean, with one day, I've already earned it back. So, anyways, that's a whole other little side
I
note.
love
So,
that.
mhm.
Oh, we have a new person in our chat, Wendy Presser. Hello.
Hi, Wendy. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the
Yay.
show. All right. Let me see. Knitting Nerd says Panera and Bigby are two of my writing places. Yeah, I love Bigby too, except for their sugar-free chocolate or mocha. They actually have sugar in it. Not happy about that. The library is not because I want to check out all the books. Yeah. We used to try to do not Borders. Gosh, how old am I? Barnes and Noble. Remember and it was first like it's hard to find a spot to sit. And like, yeah, it's kind of distracting being around all the books. So
Mhm.
Barbara says, I always thought and told you wanted someone around for safety, but yeah, some of the best times with times even with hubby is just hanging out with the kitties. Oh, that's awesome. She says writing at restaurants are great, and when you whip out your keyboard, you get the check real quick. Oh, because they want you to go. That's hilarious.
I'm so out of it. I was trying to figure out how she took her kitties to Panera Bread. I'm
That's
okay.
hilarious.
Really okay. So we had some ideas of how you could find these friends to write with if you don't have any at the moment. So what were
Mhm.
some of our ideas, guys?
Well, the first one, especially since it's Nano, we're going to start with find a group near you. You can go to the NaNoWriMo website and you can pluck in your zip code or your town that you live in, and there will be a list of nearby groups that you can just show up. It'll tell you when they meet, and you can go and show up. And that's literally how we met. Was because
Mhm.
we all had gone to the website and we went to the group and we found each other that way. And Rhonda's kind of the one that kind of brought us together, I think. At least she's the one that brought me into the group. Um, and so you could go there and you can look. Now, I will say we've had this conversation too, is that it's not a Christian, thing. And depending on who's running it, like there's been some kind of off the rails type of conversations and things that have happened even at ours. But again, at least you could start there and see if you can find some right buddies. And um, you won't know until you try. So that's a great place to start because again, their website will lead you to the closest writing group for NaNoWriMo near you.
And
Right.
if you know somebody who you barely talk to, it's great to invite them to come with you because that's what I did. I knew Tina was interested in writing, and then I didn't have to go to this event by myself. And it
Mhm.
was like, so if there's someone who you think, well, maybe that could be my friend someday, you could say, hey, would you like to come along with me? And then, first of all, you don't have to go by yourself. Jen was brave and she just went. But I had to take a security blanket in the form of a friend. And so I invited somebody who I thought, well, I would like to get to know this person better. So that's always an option too. It's a very sort of safe and neutral way to discover if the two of you could have a closer friendship beyond that. So,
And I
Mhm.
have to say, I would not have gone by myself. If you hadn't invited me, I probably never would have gone.
Mhm.
I knew about them, but I just wasn't going to do it by myself.
mhm.
Knitting Nerd says, Suzanne says, I'm going to the community college near me on Saturday after attending a funeral in the morning, and a new writing group at a local library popped up at the Nano site this morning for the same day. That's awesome.
Oh,
That's really great. All right, so Jamie kind of transitioned us already into the next. So find a group near you, specifically through the Nano website is going to be your easiest thing. But she mentioned like reaching out to a friend. So that's our second suggestion is look at your own friend group or even your church. I can tell you right now, I can walk into my church and I can pick out at least two other people that are aspiring writers or are thinking about writing. In within your own friend group, there might be somebody that has said to you, I have this story idea. You could start there. Start your own writing group with those that are around you. Kind of like Jamie did, right, guys?
yeah. I mean, Like, that's exactly what happened. Tina and I got on the subject where we talking. I was saying about Nano, and then you told me, well, I started to write a book once. And so I was like, come along. And if you've ever had any sort of a conversation like that, well, I was thinking about writing a book. And then you can pitch it to them the same way I used to pitch it to my sister. You can just come and sit on my bed. No, you don't have to say that, but you could say, you can just come, no pressure to do any writing at all, but show up on this day at this time so that I can have, like, if they think they're doing you a favor, that'll make them
Oh.
feel some kind of a nice way about it. But
Mhm.
also you're helping them, because then hopefully they will actually put a few words down on paper and you can begin to encourage them. And the next thing you know, you've got someone to share a room with at the next writers conference, just
There you
because
go.
you encourage the person to come to a sprint and body double for you.
Right,
Also, they
exactly.
might publish a bunch of books like I did. Like I have 2 books published and one almost done, and I'm starting a 4th one. So if
Yay.
Jamie hadn't invited me to that Nano sprint thing at Panera, I don't know if I would have ever gotten here. So
Right.
That's nice to think about. Thanks, Tina.
I think that none of us would be where we are right now if we had not taken that first step towards doing a nano and then taking the steps towards being a writing group together. I really
It-
don't. I think, I'm not saying we wouldn't be published, but it would just be different, much different. I think that we are farther along in our careers. We wouldn't have this podcast for sure. And I think the podcast has helped me to stay on track as well. So,
I
also,
agree.
it's a lot of the benefits of having our writing group was I learned things about writing that I didn't know, and it's made me a better writer.
mhm.
Well, and I feel like sometimes writers tend to be on the introverted side and they're sort of afraid to put themselves out there. But the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, right? Just
Right.
take one little step out. You can always retreat if you're feeling uncomfortable, but give it a shot. You never know what kind of lasting relationships you can make.
Yeah.
Yeah, because honestly, if you are a writer and you're introverted and you know someone else that you've heard say that they want to write, or you've had, chances are they're introverted too. The majority of
Hmm.
writers are introverted. So it's not like you're going to like the most popular kid at the popular table and asking for them to go to a writing group with you, right? It's someone that's probably has a lot in common with you and someone that like would be very happy. Like Tina was happy that Jamie asked her to go with her. And so that's what I would say. A little quick story. When I was a freshman, my very first communications class at Boston University, large university, and it's the largest class in the college communication, like 300 and some students in this class. It's in a big auditorium. I go in and I sit in the middle because I didn't want to have to keep getting up. And I just figured I got there early and I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to blend in. And I'm not shy, but I'm also not like a big old extrovert either. I'm pretty introverted. Um, and then so like it's pretty empty. I'm by myself right in the middle, because I don't, know what I'm gonna think about this class. I don't know where I want to sit. So I'm right in the middle. And in comes this girl and sits right next to me. No cushion seat, nothing, right next to me. And I'm just like, okay. And she's like, hi, I'm Christy. And I'm like, hi, I'm Jen. Christy and I are still friends to this day. She was one of my best friends
Oh,
through college. And she's not outgoing. She's not an extrovert. She's kind of an introvert too. But came in and she saw me and she's like, that's me, my first friend in college. Just saw me from the back
oh.
and we are still friends. She's a great person. And so you don't know that by putting yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit, that you might not find a lifelong friend. So,
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
yeah. All right.
Awesome. So we have one other idea. Who wants to present our third idea for a great way to find friends to write with for Nano?
Well, you want to join our Facebook group and make friends with all of these people that you see chatting on the side of the page. They're all wonderful. I can't even the people I have met through this podcast have just been some of the most wonderful people ever. It's
Agreed.
very mind-blowing to think about. There's not a turkey among them. They've all been amazing.
Yeah.
And so we do mean it when we say we love and appreciate you all. And so if you were to reach out to anybody who, like, you think their sense of humor matches yours, or you think what they write will help you have a question about your genre, go ahead and sort of like, Well, I don't know. Are we supposed to encourage people to send other people a private message in our Facebook group? I'm not sure.
I would
Maybe.
not post in the group. You could do a post in the group
Yeah.
saying like,
Yeah,
I'm looking
people
for you
might
to,
not want private messages.
but even better than that, right now we have rooms for writing in Nano, like within this group that people are in and out of all the time. And so I would encourage you to come in and give that a try. I mean, right now we have 72 members. It's not huge. So if you're like kind of scared to come into a giant writing group, it's not huge, but it's a lot of great Christian people that are in the same boat as you. There are trying to answer God's call to be an author and would probably love to partner with you at doing writing, especially to win NaNoWriMo.
And that our Nano writing room is pretty active because I'm the one who started it, and it calls my phone every time somebody goes in there when it's empty. And so I know that it's been pretty active. And when I've been in there, there's never been more than about 4 or 5 people. That's pretty much the max when I've been in there. So if you're worried about a large group, and it's not, it's pretty small and intimate, and everyone's really nice, and they will help you get your writing done.
And when you come into the Facebook group, if you want to go into the room, go ahead and make a post that says, "Hey, I'm going to go into the room. Anyone else want to join me?" And there might be somebody that is looking or maybe avoiding Nano, but that might be what they, it shows up in their notifications, and they might be like, "Okay, I'll go do some writing." And so, like, encourage each other with that too. So I would suggest too, if you're going to go into the room, especially if you see there's no one in there, make a post and try to get some people's attention and see if they'll join you.
Yeah. And please forgive me if I'm not in there. I'm in a weird pain place right now, and if I don't feel up to it, I'm not good. Especially in the morning, I tend to be in more pain in the morning.
Hmm.
So
Piper says, I love this podcast. I'm so glad you ladies got together. We love
oh,
you
thanks,
too,
Piper.
Piper. You're very special to us.
Okay, so I think that's all we have to say about that. Anyone else want to add anything before we move on to our favorite time?
I think we just forgot to mention that our Facebook group is linked in the show notes, but I'm ready to move on to the feeding of the
Okay.
bags.
Yep.
Yay.
So our favorite time is called the feeding of the backs. This is because Jamie used to always ask if our back was well fed
Mhm.
after we got feedback about our manuscript that we were sharing. And so we're going to give only positive feedback because we got this. It's like a random prompt. We didn't have time to plot anything. We spent 15 minutes writing, no time to fix any errors. And we are going to read it to you guys live out loud on the show, errors and all. So only positive feedback is allowed. And we're going to start with Jamie. What did you write today, Jamie?
All righty. Let me pull it up here. First of all, the prompt. The prompt was he learned an important lesson that day. And I will tell you, I thought immediately as the image came to me, I thought the ending would be different, but I'll tell you how when it's done.
That's awesome.
It was hot, so hot, and the air was dry. It was so dry that the crunch of sneakers on crisp leaves and the laughing voices of his brother and stepfather reached him where he stood near the tailgate of his pickup. Someone had found Boy Scout toilet paper. Someone had recounted a tale of campfire cooking gone wrong. Stories were being swapped about digging holes and intolerable latrines. Closer, in and around his sister-in-law's white minivan with the hot pink and teal pinstripes, was a flurry of fluffy, frizzy hair and rolled-up dungarees, her and her 2 little daughters setting up camp in the site next to Mom's. Even the little baby still in diapers had found a way to amuse himself, sitting in the dirt and making Zen lines in the sandy soil near where the flaccid tent waited patiently to be attended to. In spite of all this gaiety around him, in spite of his own old lady, Sheila, cranking up the Bob Marley as she rattled around inside the pull behind she'd coaxed him into buying specifically for this trip, while painting for him the vision of a future full of long weekend getaways, all he could think about was a smoke. His fingers were busy rolling the imagined cylinder between his fingers, but he pretended to himself he was counting the years since he'd last had a smoke. Had it been back in 98? Surely it couldn't have been as recent as 2021. Had he been smoking when the towers fell? He shook his head and almost didn't recognize the gesture of fishing in his shirt pocket for the soft pack that used to reside there, and turned the gesture into one of a good old stretch of his shoulder blades. You need anything from town, Sheila? He called as he closed the tailgate and rounded the truck. You going to town? She said, in a way that told him the answer was no. The routine of purchasing the smokes was almost enough to satisfy the craving he'd been cherishing. Almost. He contemplated smoking in the truck on the way back, then realized that was the surest way ever to be found out. He opted instead for the designated smoking area the campground provided up near the office where you checked in and rented fishing equipment and bicycles. He felt shaky inside, but his steady hands knew their business. He lit up, inhaled. Uncle Charlie? He peered at one eye through the smoke as his frizzy-haired niece, who was emerging from the gift shop section of the log building with a double scoop of ice cream balanced precariously on a cone. Her mother was right behind her, the middle one hanging from her waistband, carrying the baby and 2 cones. Charlie, when did you start smoking again? And the timer went off.
Ah. Oh man, I wanted to no, Charlie, don't do it. All right, so I know it's supposed to be positive feedback, but I want to ask questions. Okay, so let me give some feedback so we can ask questions.
Well, yes.
So I love this. I love the you're always so great with characters anyway, but the way he's like, how long's it been since I smoked, and how he naturally reached for it and it wasn't there. Like, you just have a really great way of being inside of characters' heads and making us feel like we're there too. So really well done, Jamie.
I appreciate that.
I feel like it's been recently that he smoked.
Maybe he's not remembering, you know what I
Or
mean?
maybe he's
Right.
in denial because
He sounds like he's
like
very
he's
much in
still trying to
denial.
grab for his pack of cigarettes, and it's been
Mhm.
since 1990 something.
Mhm.
Like, I'm an ex-smoker, and I can tell you, like, the thought of smoking right now makes me nauseous.
Mhm.
If I
Mhm.
get around people who smoke, it makes me nauseous, and I am not trying to figure out how to sneak a smoke.
Mhm.
It's
I know everyone's an individual, so to me, I was like, it's been recently, and so here he is doing what he probably does frequently and sneaking out to go get one. And
yeah,
I
because
wonder
he
if his wife is onto him.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot. I was gonna have him start a wildfire, which is why
I that was my question, is what was this, how was it supposed
yes,
to end?
yes, it was supposed to end with him actually like flicking it away and not
Right.
thinking about it
By
again,
the
and
side of the
then the whole
road where
thing
he
catches on
stopped to have a
fire.
cigarette, which would have been a
Yeah.
smarter idea because he would have been by the office of the campground where his whole family was staying.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
right away, I was like, "Oh, that's a bad idea."
Right.
And I'm sorry, I guess my feedback isn't really about the writing itself, but it's about the story, but, like, that's what I get
Mhm.
into is, like, the story,
Same.
because I forget that we're supposed to be talking about her writing because it's that good. Like,
Yeah.
it's a story that feeling invested in because I'm like, "Oh, this guy's not smart." Like,
Right.
he should have, like, stopped, like, in the middle of nowhere by the side of the road.
Right.
I
Piper's
appreciate that.
Piper says, "You really spelled out the ingrained habits well." Agreed. And
Yeah.
Barbara says, "The baby details were classic, Jamie. Loved it, and so true of some smokers I know. Go years and still want to smoke and fold." And then Wendy says, LOL, God definitely sent me here today. I love the imagery and how much backstory was packed into so few words. I had to mute you because, as it turns out, I'm on day 5 of quitting
Oh,
smoking."
Oh.
oh.
And she said this was a great test of my willpower. Well, you know what, Wendy? I think that's great. I will be praying for you because I know that it can have a hold on you, but I know that you can conquer this with Jesus. I know you can. So that's really great, though. Um, yeah.
Okay.
Barbara says nearly gets caught and causes fire. Yeah, I think that's so funny.
Fun. That would have been a lesson, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
His lesson was, don't go where your nieces are gonna show up for ice cream.
Right?
Or don't
Or you
smoke.
sneak a cigarette. Well,
Yeah.
okay, so, I guess I'll go next. I, um So I had in mind to use the prompt, and then it didn't get used. So, like I just got into writing, and I'm writing in my murder mystery. It's yet another witness that my detective is interviewing. And Jamie, I hope you don't sue me for stealing ideas from you. So you'll know what
Okay.
I'm talking about when we get to the end.
All right.
And Detective Reed walked to the next trailer, turning his notebook to a clean page, folding the corner of the last one and tucking it under the elastic strap meant to hold the notebook closed. A man in red nylon shorts was in the yard doing jumping jacks while Aerosmith played from a box on the grass near him. His black t-shirt had "Ask me about your vitamins and supplements" in neon green on the back. His shoulder-length blonde hair was wet at the end, and his muscles shone in the sunlight. Detective Reed wondered if it was from sweat or baby oil. When the man saw him approach, he ran and grabbed a teal towel off the porch railing and wiped his face and neck with it, then grabbed a jar full of green liquid that he sucked through a metal straw. "Morning, officer," he said, holding out his hand. "I'm Reed Reynolds." Detective Robert Reed. "Hey, we have the same name, only mine's my first and yours is your last. Radical, man." Reed looked to be in his mid 40s, and his manner of speaking reminded the detective of California beach bums in the 80s. He fully expected the next line out of his mouth to be "gag me with a spoon," which made him want to smile. Instead, he maintained the professional scowl of all good detectives. "Did you know the family who lived at Lot 12? "Saw them occasionally. Knocked on the door once to see if they wanted to buy some vitamins, having kids and all. But she barely opened the door more than a crack and wouldn't let me in. That's pretty much it. Of course, I've heard all the gossip, but knowing this bunch," he indicated the rest of the trailers with his free hand, "most likely none of it's true." "What type of rumors?" "Well, that he was playing around on her, that he was beating on her. Myself never saw evidence of either, although I'm totally not on the same wavelengths as the rest of them. I take pride in my health, mental health as well, and gossip is not good for mental health, so I
Mhm.
avoid it." "Okay. Is there anything else you can think of? Anything unusual? Somebody hanging around that doesn't belong?" "Well, there has been this strange SUV parked across from that Shar lady's place, but I just figured she got herself a man she didn't want anyone to know about." "Why wouldn't she want anyone to know about him?" "Well, she does have a thing for the married type, you know. And that ain't gossip. She told me that herself once when I asked her out. Apparently, I was too single for her." 3, 2, 1.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, so good. I cannot wait to read this. Alright, I have a question. I know I'm supposed to not ask questions, but
You know, you
are
can.
you are you pantsing this or do you,
I'm
like, know
pantsing it.
you are? So you don't
Well,
know,
I
like,
know
what who
that
felt
I know that he's gonna go through the trailer park and interview all the residents, but I
yeah.
don't know who they are yet until he gets to the next trailer.
Do you know who the murderer was before you write the
Oh,
book?
yeah.
Okay, okay. I just wonder, like, that I don't know, like, I know that pantsers will start writing and they just discover things as they go, but I'm like, can you do that with a mystery? Like, are you pantsing it and not know who did it? Like
I have my goalposts, and I have my,
Gotcha.
murderer, and I have my person they think is the murderer, which is not the murderer, and I
Right,
need a couple other red herrings that I don't know what they are yet.
right.
So
That's awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah,
loved it.
I really resonate with Piper, who said the part about the professional scowl all good detectives wear, because it says about the detective's personality. Like, he wishes he didn't need to be so straight laced and down to business when he's
Mhm.
doing this kind of stuff, which makes me think that like, this is a good advertisement for this story, because I feel like I would like this guy and makes me want to read, page one, paragraph one, so that I can maybe get more about who this detective is, right?
mhm.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I also agree with what Barbara said. She said, "Too single for her." Good line. Yep,
Mhm.
gotta finish that, Tina. I cannot wait. Purpose behind the pen also says, "Wow, I love yours, Miss Tina." And Wendy says, "I love how there's a bit of humor and wonderful snarkiness that's so fitting for this genre." Yeah.
Mhm.
I think you're gonna really shine in this genre, Tina.
I
I
am
do.
Mhm.
naturally snarky.
Yeah, this is true.
Right what you
Yes.
know.
We as your friends absolutely agree.
It's just part of my DNA. I can't help
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
All right, I can't wait to see what Jen needed to spend an extra minute on. I really want to know how this
I
goes
don't
for
know if
her.
it's that. I don't build it up too much, but I am okay. So writing Widows of the West book 1 still, but that is my nano goal, is to like get my 50,000 words, which would pretty much finish this book up. Oh, pretty close. So, okay. You're just like all the rest, Cade McNeil. Cade didn't know what the widow meant by the rest, but he knew he didn't like the comparison. The rest, he asked, not certain. He wanted to hear her answer. Yes, the rest. All the other land greedy men around here, barely waiting until my husband's body was cold before they came sniffing around here looking for a way to get their hands on my ranch. There it was again, another reference to others attempting to gain her land by unscrupulous means. I was making an honest offer, ma'am, and I didn't wait until your husband was dead either. I've been making other offers to Denny long before he passed. Her forehead wrinkled. I never heard of these offers, and I never saw you around here to make an offer. I made them before he married you. Before? Yes'm. It was obvious that McGuire was in over his head. I wanted the land, sure, but I also wanted to help this man out of the hole he had dug for himself. I thought it would have been beneficial for both of us. Cade removed his hat. I still think it would be beneficial for both of us, Mrs. McGuire. I have the money and could use the land, and you could use the money from the sale to return home. She slowly shook her head. I haven't a home to return to. This is all I have. She turned her back to him and walked to the window, her arms wrapped around her waist, and Cade thought he'd never seen something so strong and so fragile wrapped up in such a tiny package. Mr. McNeil, she said, breaking through his musings, if you were so concerned about my husband's welfare before he married me, why didn't those concerns continue? She turned to face him. You came back one time and the entire time I was married to Denny, then never again. Why did you never come back? Her blue eyes, so crystal clear, made Cade feel as if she could see right through him. Because of you, he said honestly, because he felt she deserved his honesty. Because it ain't right to covet another man's wife. Cade placed his hat back on his head and walked out of the house.
Oh, what is she gonna do with that?
Oh my gosh.
I love the line about something so strong and so fragile, because I think at the end of the day, what woman doesn't want to be some man to feel like that about her? Because you have to be strong to do what you have to do, but you want somebody to recognize that you need a protector.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part of the want in the romance that you have going on there. That's really, I appreciate that.
I really resonated with that too. I met my current husband after I had left my abusive first husband who tried to kill me, and with 3 children. And he had said to me after we were married that what first attracted him to me was my strength and the courage that I had to do that. And it just kind of floored me, because I was like, on the inside I was the furthest thing from strong. I was like drowning, really. And he was kind of, my kids will say that to this day, that when Bob came into our lives, it changed everything. He's kind of our knight in shining armor, not just for me, but for my kids too. And so to have him say that he thought I was strong, and so it like really resonates, like that whole kind of thing where he can see her strength, but he can see her vulnerability too. I really like that.
Thanks.
A lot of ooh, snap. Piper and Barb are on the same page there. Wendy says, strong and fragile wrapped up in a tiny package. Yep. What a powerful sentence that says so much. I love it when writers can say a lot without saying a lot. Yeah. And Jen, that's really, really good. That really did that for sure. Barbara says she loved that line too and wanted her reaction. What a cliffhanger. I know. What is she going to say?
We ran out of time.
This is like you're in the middle of the night. Okay, I'll just finish this chapter and then I'll go to bed. Nope.
Something I would like to point out too, like for those of you that we'll go back maybe and listen to this again too. And I don't know if it's as easy to hear it as see it, but the timer was running out. And we on the show, we try to like at least have a resolution or some close it kind of sum up. But when you're writing at home, you don't have to do that when you time like because we believe in timed writing. We believe in Pomodoro, which is usually 25 minutes, not 15. Um, but there's so many things that I just kind of you can see as I'm reading it, I'm like do script to script, and then I just kind of start rushing through it. But that's okay still because now I have almost 400 words that I got in 15 minutes. And now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to make this better because I know I rushed through it. And I'll probably end up with I mean, at least twice that much for this, or if at the very least 600 words, because I know what I left out and I know the what I'm trying to evoke. So, um, all I would say is like I have been writing 250, 260. Today was almost 400 words. And the difference is because I have been doing Nano, not consistently, but I've been writing. And the more you write, the more you write. And
Mhm.
so it just be encouraged. If you aren't doing this yet, give it a try. Even if you haven't started nano yet, do a mini nano. Start right now and see what you can do because it really will help you.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
mm,
Okay, so now it's time for our What's Next segment where we can go around and tell everybody what's next in our lives. So, Jennifer, do you want to go first?
sure. I'm going to be writing. I'm doing nano and I am about 5,000 words behind. And next week we're going to talk about kind of that like when you're behind and stuff. So I won't say too much, but I've already started doing some of the things we're going to talk about in order to try to catch up. And so I'm just going to keep plugging away on this. And yeah, that's what's up with me. Nano. That's it. What about you, Tina?
I'm going to play Skyrim.
Ooh.
No, no.
It's
Oh
the
man,
only
I had
thing
a
that
great time
makes me
playing
not think
Skyrim.
about my mouth hurting because
Mhm.
I'm trying dragons are trying to kill me, and that seems like a lot worse. Well, my birthday's this week, so I'm gonna officially be really old and qualify for discounts at certain places. And
You're
um,
not turning 60.
no, 55.
Oh. Oh, 55 is discount? I didn't know
Well,
that.
you
Yeah,
could move
I
into the
forget where. I
villages.
think it was Branson, Missouri. There were several places that you could. My husband, because we were planning a trip to Branson in the spring,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
my husband's like, "Oh, you'll be 55. We'll go here, and we'll go." I was like, "Okay."
Hey, it's the silver lining.
Yeah.
And my daughter and granddaughters are coming over today, which they haven't. My daughter with the 1-year-old hasn't been over for a few weeks because there was a death in her husband's family, and they had to go out of state. And then she wasn't feeling well, and I didn't want her disease, and so that'll be fun. And we just got the pictures back, so my daughter and I can go through them. And I'm gonna try to write. I think I'm gonna try to get back into the nano sprint room in our group on Monday. I'm hoping
Mhm.
that's enough time for these antibiotics to have kicked anything that's still causing me pain. And if everybody could pray, I have my name on the wait list, on the cancellation list for the oral surgeon.
Mhm.
I could use some prayers that like a whole bunch of people will cancel because I don't even know what number I am on the
Right.
list because I really don't want to wait till January 12th.
Right. Definitely be
So,
praying for that, Tina.
but that's it. That's what's going on here. So, Jamie, do we do Jamie already?
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh, I thought you might skip me, but you didn't. But
No.
so here's the thing. I am woefully uncommitted to doing anything with my writing. I opened it on the first day. So my nano goal, which I did not even go to the nano website because I'm not committed to doing it. I've been putting off doing the work on this novel forever. And if you were around for the kickoff party, I opened my work and started working on it, but I wanted to look at how something was in an earlier version. And I'm like, wait a minute, I like this earlier version way better, which just only discouraged me because it
Aw.
made it to be like it's going to be even more work. And it's just work that I just don't want to do it. And so to
Aw.
say I'm going to do it is like, I don't like to say I'm going to do something that I'm not. So we'll see. We'll see if I am encouraged by some body doubling or just finally decide, yep, I'm going to make those hard choices. And because I think that essentially I am a drafter. I think it needs another draft possibly, but I don't know. I don't know. It's like when you traditionally publish, you send something away and then they send it back to you and say, do this and this and this and this. And you sacrifice your liberty to make choices you want to make, but you get like a taskmaster who just tells you, do this and do this. And they make some of these decisions for you. And you kind of feel like, oh, that would be so liberating. But then would it be as good, you know? So you just got to make yourself do the hard stuff. And I just haven't been up to it. Ugh.
Right now, you feel like it would be liberating. It would just be a different jail.
Yeah,
Right?
you're
This
right.
jail you've
Mhm.
constructed, that's a jail that someone else constructed, and there's nothing you can do about it. The jail
Right.
you've constructed, you can do something about it. You can make the
Mhm.
choice to just decide, "I'm gonna do it. If it takes me another year, I'm gonna do it." Or you can make the choice, "I'm not gonna do it. I wanna be done with this project."
And
So
I
it's
tell
really
Yeah.
you,
just
the
yeah.
reason I think it would be a totally new jail for you is because when you hear people say right to market, you have a very strong reaction against that.
You made me
And
remember, I just recently watched a movie that I'm not gonna talk about what movie it was, but I was like, "What a great movie," until the end, and then the end was
Ugh,
very what they want the end to be, you know,
yeah. So
the
a
masses
traditional
are
publisher
yeah.
telling you to do this and this and
I
this
wouldn't like that,
would
you're
be
right.
doing it for marketing purposes and not to make it a great story.
You're right. You're right. But anyway, I don't know if it'll be November that I actually do the work. Like Jen said, I haven't decided. I'll never publish this book. I just don't know if I want to do it now. Right.
mhm. I
So we'll
understand.
see. We'll see what happens. And that'll be what I check in with next week. We'll see where I'm at.
Here's a fancy idea. What if you put the book away and you start something new and fun? And then when you're ready, you will be hungry to work on that book again. That's a thought.
No, I don't want to do any of it.
Okay.
Like I want to work on a jigsaw puzzle. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like I don't
mm,
I know
because
exactly
then
what you mean. That's kind of how I am with Skyrim right now. Like I just want to go shoot arrows at dragons. I don't want to think about all the rest of this stuff. I get it.
mhm. Well, I think we all need to be praying for each other because also think that Satan will also attack in ways like this and make us feel like I can't do it. He'll put other like blocks in your way. I don't believe that Satan caused my brother to pass away, obviously, but I do
But
think
he'll
that
use it.
he'll use it.
Mhm.
Yes. So we just need to be praying for God's provision and maybe it isn't God's will that you do it right now. And maybe there's a reason, Jamie. Maybe there's a reason. So all right, let's see. Wendy says, my trad published friend is learning that now. She's no longer even writing the genre that she's passionate about, but she's getting
oh
deals. So it comes down to what's more important to her. And
hmm.
SL says that they'll be praying for you.
That's
So
so awesome. Thank you.
mhm.
Oh.
And we have other people saying they're gonna pray for you, Tina, as well. And we pray that you can get into the doctor sooner.
Thanks,
So
guys.
Aw, I love all this encouragement and support.
mhm.
Everybody is so nice here.
Yeah,
We
they
are
are.
blessed beyond measure.
We are.
So if you're not a part of our group, you're gonna wanna go over to that Facebook group. I'm telling you. We don't make any money on this. So I know it sounds like we're trying to sell it. We don't. It's just because our people are that great. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah. It's a great community.
mhm.
Okay, so I think that's it for today. Next week, we're going to talk about what to do if you're woefully behind and you need to pull a rabbit out of the hat and get it done for Nano. So be sure to join us next week. And until then, may your pen be prolific, your deadlines be met, and may all of your words honor Christ.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.